It's all yours.
Awesome. Welcome, you guys. How is everyone doing? It is a Monday, September the 26th. And I tell you what, guys, I know that it's a special moment every time that we have a guest speaker, but for the speaker that we have today, I've been hearing a bunch of really, really good things, not only from Sean, but everyone from his upline. This is someone who Sean, and I mean, I'll let him tell you guys, Sean knew from before the business and pretty much saw Ethan grow up. And I'm really excited about him sharing with you guys because he is one of the most quiet individuals that I have met here in the office. The beautiful thing is that he comes in and the man just sits down and works. So I'm really excited for you guys to get to hear from Ethan Mckinney. How are you doing, bud?
Good, good. Can you hear me okay?
I can, yes, sir. Thank you for taking time to be here with us, man. Appreciate you.
All right. Well, thanks for having me.
Of course, of course. How's the holiday going?
Pretty good. I got about 7 books so far.
Seven
And then
appointments. Awesome.
After this, I'm gonna go get some lunch and then get back to it. So
Got it. Awesome. Good stuff, man. Well, thank you. So 7 appointments already, kind of like halfway done, and it's only 1 p.m. having lunch, and then you're gonna finish later on. So that's good, man. So do me a favor. Let's make sure that everyone gets to know you a little bit. So why don't you tell them a little bit about yourself? How old you are, and what were you doing before FFL?
okay, yeah. So I'm 19 currently. I'm an October baby as well. I turn 20 next month, October 20th.
Get
But
out of here. It can't be the 20th. Are you serious?
yeah, but I've
All
had my
right.
license for a little bit now. I got it when I turned 18, but I was still in school at the time and, not really 100% full time or 100% involved. I was just barely working, selling maybe 2 policies here and there. But before I got started, I had just graduated high school in 2020. And I've known Sean for a long time since I was about 12 years old, back in the Little League days. And his son, he's my best friend growing up. So I've always kept close. But I remember him telling me, when I turned 18, he'd help me get a job. And I had no idea what it was or that I'd be selling insurance. But I remember I was turning 18 in a couple months. So I had reached out and said, hey, man, I know you said you'd help me with the job. I'm ready, whatever it is. So he had put me in line with Eric Schmidt up in Connecticut. And I was doing some phone works and some office stuff before I did get my license. And then when I got my license, like I said, I was really kind of on and off, didn't really go full time at it. I was still in college at the time. I was in my first year. But pretty much after that, I decided going into this year, January, I just wanted to go full time and give it a real shot at it and try to make this work. So obviously 9 months into the year and here I am now. So
Awesome.
that's kind of my
Good
background
stuff,
and how I
man.
got started. Yep.
Good thing, good thing. And where were you working before Family
Oh yeah,
First?
yep. So before this, my only job was I was working at McDonald's, and then I got my insurance license. So that's my only 2 job history right there.
Awesome. A long line of work history there. That's awesome. Good thing, man. So well, I'm on the 20th too. And
Okay.
I actually, yeah, I used to work at McDonald's as well. I worked there for like 10 years, man.
Yeah.
Um, I don't laugh, anybody. Okay. It's a good thing to have it in your resume. All right.
Learned
Good.
a lot.
Good stuff. Well, we're here now, man. So that's awesome. So you knew Sean, so you kind of already saw the kind of success that he was having, right? I
Yeah.
know that you guys kept in contact and all that kind of stuff. So what was it about the once you knew, right? You got in contact with Eric Schmidt. Once you knew what we do and how we do things, what was it that attracted you to that specific field, to
Yeah.
this?
So I remember going to a meeting at the Uncasville office in Connecticut because I'm originally from Connecticut. Then I moved down to North Carolina, and obviously now I'm in the same office as you in Boca. So now I live in Boca. But I remember going to a meeting in Connecticut, and I was just kind of zoned out. I wasn't really fully paying attention. It was a long day. It was like 8 hours, and I was still only 17. So, and then I remember there was a lot of top producers training Eric Schmidt, and then I remember they said something like, they made 40 or 50,000 in a month. And when I heard that, I was like, now I was paying attention. Now I was like, okay, what's going on here? So kind of when they just said that, just the amount of income you can make here, that's what kind of just opened my eyes and was like, okay, I want to give this a shot. And just also being able to control your own schedule, and just work your own hours and just not have a boss, right? Just be able to do whatever. But obviously, my own hours, I still choose to work, pretty much all day. But I just like the freedom of being able to go anywhere, work anywhere, and just control your own schedule. But when I heard what the opportunity was income wise, that's kind of really what caught my attention.
Awesome. Awesome. Good thing. Did you ever think, or did it ever cross your mind that you were gonna be selling life insurance?
No, not at all. I had no idea. I knew I didn't want to go to college and pay for it myself and take on some student loans. I knew I didn't want to do that, but I did it anyway for 1 year because that's what my mom wanted me to do. But I never thought I'd be selling life insurance whatsoever.
Got it. Got it. Okay, cool. And then back in Connecticut, mom, dad, siblings.
Yeah, yeah. So they're all still living in. I got a little sister, and my mom and dad, they still live in Connecticut. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Good thing. Now you did mention that you were moving to North Carolina and all that kind of stuff, and then now you are here in Boca.
Yeah.
What's the thought process for you? And we're gonna get a little bit more into like your schedule and your dynamics here, at work and stuff like that. But what's the thought process behind travel? Because I know that you did a little bit of traveling before too,
Yeah.
and selling life insurance. So what's that thought process for you traveling and then now moving back? I mean, moving down to South Florida.
Yeah. So like I said, I was in North Carolina, and that's kind of where I was going. My parents live in Connecticut, obviously, so I have a bunch of friends there, and I know a bunch of people there. So I wanted to move down to North Carolina to kind of escape all my friends and all my distractions and kind of just focus on work itself, just kind of leave everything so I can just zone in and focus on, making this happen and, doing better for myself. So my grandparents, they lived in Asheville, North Carolina. So I kind of just stayed with them and would go travel to within a state, within driving distance, because I'm not old enough to get a rental car or anything like that. So I couldn't take like travel trips or something. So
Right.
within like 3 hour drive, I'd go run to counties. And then, I realized that I just wanted to try something new and, get a place on my own. So that's what I did in here in Boca. And I know there's an office here within about 10 minutes from me. So before I would just dial from home all the time. I never really would go to an office. There wasn't really one near me in Asheville. So now that I'm here, there's an office about 10 minutes and I plan on coming here every dial day. So
Awesome, awesome. And I've seen you here every day, every dial day too. So that's good, man. So now, I know that you and I talked a little bit about some mental blocks, right? That I know that I had them when I started, and most agents, we see agents every single day that unfortunately do come with those mental blocks. And I kind of mentioned it to you, and we were laughing about it because I feel that the older that we are, right, the more stuff that we have had to go through, the more life that we have experienced and stuff like that. And I didn't, and I hope that you didn't take it. I know you didn't take it
oh,
any disrespectful way or anything like that. And I say this with the most respect for you guys because, man, believe me, I wish that I knew about life insurance and what I know now, right? Back when I was 19. I
yeah,
mean, it would have been a totally different lifestyle for my entire family, right? um, and we wouldn't have had to struggle as much as we did, right? And so the what I was saying, and again, I said that with the most respectful way that I can, is that you at a young age of 19. Is it fair to say that you haven't lived,
Okay, that'll work.
long enough to have? Hey guys, please make sure that you guys are muting yourselves. That you haven't lived, you know, enough to have a bunch of stuff coming your way that will probably keep you distracted from accomplishing your goals. Is it fair to say?
yeah. I mean, definitely fair to say because I am only 19, so I don't have any children, don't have a wife or, girlfriend, nothing like that. So pretty much all my distractions and everything holding me back was in Connecticut. So when I moved here or moved away, the only thing I could focus on was work itself. So yeah, I mean, not too many responsibilities, like family wise, obviously just paying for all my own stuff. But yeah, definitely fair to say because I can kind of just, be on my own and just do my own thing without having to worry about a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, most definitely. So, a total unfair advantage that you have, right, against everybody, which is your age. But I respect you guys, guys like yourself and Michael Sandman and a bunch of other ones, right, that have joined us at a young age. But again, it's a huge blessing to be able to say that we work with some of you guys. And honestly, for me, it's just an excuse remover, right? Because at least on my end, and I can only talk for myself, so I mean, my excuses, or what I could call excuses, right, are more or less my motivation, my reasoning for doing things, right? Like my family, my kids, my wife, they are the reasons why I do what I do and the reasons that I'm here every single day. So thanks for sharing that, man. So Ethan, let's talk a little bit about your business here. And so what's your typical schedule on a weekly basis? And whatever you want to start it, how does that look for you on a weekly basis?
Yeah, so I just stick to the regular schedule, Mondays and Thursdays dial day. So I try to get to the office Monday and Thursdays around 7:30 or so. And I usually stay till 8 because I dial all internet leads. That's my lead flow. So sometimes it does take me that long, but I do just, there's not much else for me to do. So I just stay here till 8, look to book up, 10, 12, 15 appointments for Tuesday, Wednesday, and then come back Thursday and do the same thing Friday, Saturday, book Sundays if I can. Lately, I've been doing a lot of calls on Sunday. Like yesterday, I was able to sell 2 policies over the phone. But pretty much for the most part, just my typical schedule, dial Monday for Tuesday, Wednesday, dial Thursday again for the weekend.
Awesome. Good stuff. So you're following the FFL schedule then. So obviously taking yourself away from distractions and all that kind of stuff, you came down here just to focus on work. So you're starting your day, your dial day at 7:30. I know that within Eric Schmidt, and I love Eric, but he talks a lot about schedule, right? And he's very disciplined, I think. And I'm pretty sure, the reason why you have taken on, that discipline is probably from the mentorship that he's got. But what's your thought process behind starting early and staying late, especially on a dial day?
So I don't, my first dial is not usually before 8 o'clock. I know a lot of people start dialing at 7:30, but I just like getting in at that time, getting settled in, make sure I got all my leads organized. I don't print any, so they're on my computer screen anyway, but I make sure I'm just ready and just focused. That way my first dial is not at 8:11, 8:15, 9:30, even though maybe I don't book an appointment from that 8 to 9 o'clock window. Just making my first dial at 8 o'clock just helps me mentally, knowing that, I wasn't late to the party or nothing, I'm on time. It's just going to work out. So, and then sometimes I do book a bunch of appointments from 8 to 9, and staying late also. Like I said, with all internet leads, you might not get a lot of pickups here and there, but I like to stay till 8 and call up until 8 o'clock. I started doing that because, like I said, I was that good on the phone. So it usually would take me that long. As I get better, obviously it gets a little easier, but I like down till 8 o'clock anyway, because I've noticed I've had a lot of people pick up at like 7:30, 7:45, even all the way up to 8 o'clock at night. And I've noticed pretty much everyone that actually picks up the phone at 8 o'clock at night and tells me to come over tomorrow, usually they're buying a policy, right? They're not going to tell you to come over at 8 o'clock at night if they don't want a policy. So I noticed that I started, everyone pretty much that I booked after 7 o'clock, I was like 90% selling them all. So I was like, okay, each dial day, why wouldn't I call around that time if I know if they pick up more often than not, I'm going to sell them a policy and, help their family. So it just mentally, it helps me, because if I stopped at 6 o'clock, I might have missed those 2 people that just got home late, that don't answer the phone unless, they're not getting bombarded with telemarketers, and I was able to help that family. So it kind of just helps me mentally, knowing that, me dialing all the way till 8 o'clock, I could get some stragglers or the low hanging fruit that are waiting for our help. And they're just, were busy all day or at work, something like that. So
Yeah,
that's
for
kind of why.
sure. So awesome. Good thing. So Cam and I were just talking about this earlier that, some people that may just be running around trying to get out of the house, you know what I mean, trying to get things ready, or even just making sure that they can get to work, on time. They're not going to have, even if it's 2 minutes on the phone, and they're probably just going to rush you off saying that they're not either interested, that it wasn't them, or just plainly hanging up on you, right?
Yeah.
But that's why you want to make sure that you can catch those later, because it's a totally different mindset even for them too, right?
Yeah.
They're not rushing.
Like I had a time where I called a lady at like 8 a.m. and she hung up on me, told me she wasn't interested. And then I called her around 7 p.m. with a different name. I said, hey, this is Matt getting back to you. And she's like, yeah, I was just looking for numbers. And then I booked her for the next day and I helped get her a policy. But at 8 a.m., she hung up, told me she wasn't interested. But like you said, I call her when she's leaving work on the way home.
Right.
And she's willing to give me a couple minutes so I can tell her I'm coming over, and I was able to help her out. So I've had a couple times like that.
That's awesome, man. Good thing. I remember hearing Cunningham. Yeah. And he was talking about what if that person on the other line, on the other side of the line, just got off the phone, with their doctors, and they didn't get, such good news. Like they're not gonna be in the mood to talk to you. So, and even if it's, another day, because just like you said, I mean, even if it's calling them on a Monday and then calling them back on a Thursday, it's just a different opportunity. They're going to be in a different mindset. So the thought process that I have, at least behind that, is to make sure that, number one, we don't necessarily take their first response as a resolution to the lead. What's your thought process on that?
Yeah, exactly. So, just because they didn't answer, they hung up on Monday, doesn't mean that they don't want our help anymore, that they're not a good lead. You can call them. I've called leads from 3 months ago and helped book appointments and sell policies because, like I said, just because they filled out a form online 3 months ago doesn't mean they're probably not still doing that as of today. So I do that. I call them all Monday, at least, 9 something times each. And then I'll buy fresh leads for Thursday, right? I don't want to rely on all those leads from Monday, but then I'll go ahead and circle back on some people that maybe not have answered or hung up, told me to call them back later, and that type of thing. And I also like to dial on run days as well, in between appointments, and squeeze out a lot of those people as well. So just because you called them 3 times on a Monday doesn't mean that they're, they don't need our help anymore. Right.
Yeah. 100%. That's good, man. And thank you for sharing that. I mean, especially what you just said. So you said a few things in there. So number one, that you dial them more than 9 times. I mean, sometimes it's 16, sometimes it's 20 times that you have to dial them. Right. And then the other thing is that you said that you want to make sure that you have fresh leads for the next dial day. And then also the fact that you dial in between appointments.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Good stuff. And I want to make sure that I reiterate that, because see, understand one thing, you guys, we are business owners, right? Most of us, most people don't necessarily come in here with a business owner mentality, right? We come with the mentality that, hey, you got to show up at work, at 8, and you may have a little leeway, 8:15. You do that more than 3 times, you're going to get written up, and then you're going to get fired. Right. But then your responsibility as an employee ends at 5, right? Well, I don't know the schedule that you had at McDonald's, Ethan. Did you work like first, second, third shift?
Yeah, I was pretty much either like 3 to 11 or like 7 to 3, somewhere around there.
Gotcha. 3 to 11 or 7 to 3. Got it. So, I mean, at that point, 3 o'clock came in, you were done. You were out. You couldn't wait, to get off.
Exactly.
To get off. Yeah. Got it. So I was there for a little longer. So I mean, I was, a manager or whatever. I had a set of keys. That's all it was. A glorified, key holder. And I mean, even at that point, I mean, responsibilities are maybe a little bit more, but I couldn't wait to get off. You know what I mean? Like I didn't want to think about the place anymore. And so as an employee, you don't necessarily have to think about going the extra mile. And I mean, even as young as you are, though, Ethan, you have been able to understand that. And that as a business owner, no longer an employee, you have to put more effort than a regular person into doing what we're doing. Now, the other thing behind that too, though, it's mindset. And although you are 19, man, and I'm not saying this just because I'm talking to you now, but the way that you present yourself very mature. And you present yourself also, number one, I mean, if I didn't know anything about life insurance, just with everything that you have said, and I'm sure that some of the new agents here are probably agreeing with me, it looks like you know a lot about what we do. How did you get to this point right now?
Yeah, I think mainly is just surrounding myself with a lot of people that are, selling at a high level or helping a lot of families, and just, getting out and learning for yourself, right? Go ahead and book the appointments, sit with people, because you'll learn more over time just through experience. I think that's the biggest teacher, just experience in itself. But also, every dial day, I'm usually on Zoom with a couple other people and we're all unmuted. So it can get a little hectic, but you're hearing things that they're saying, what we're saying, and just that helps speed up the learning curve. But as well as just going out and booking as many appointments as you can and just go out and working, and you'll just learn things as you go. So I think, that's pretty much just what helped me get to this point, is just surrounding myself with people that are selling at a high level, asking questions, and just getting out and doing it myself.
Awesome. Awesome. And I think that that is the perfect message. If those of you guys who are new in here, and hey guys, if you guys have been doing this for a while and you're just having a little hard time getting the ball rolling, the beauty about what we do is that you can draw a line in the sand and start over every day, right? Now, don't do it too many times, right? Because obviously you're doing something wrong, but that is the beauty of what we do. You can draw a line in the sand and start over. And I will highly, highly recommend that you take exactly what Ethan just said. I mean, obviously, this is going to be recorded. It's going to be on our side within the next 48 hours, right? No pressure. I'm just kidding. But it's going to be on our side within 48 hours. And you can always replay this. And I really wish that you guys would, take everything that Ethan is saying right now, take it from him, right? I mean, as far as working experience, he's only worked at McDonald's, and this is really the only thing that he's done. I don't know if you guys saw his stats, right? And I'm going to go back to them. So he's 19. He's only been doing this full time since January, right? Best month in business for him was 35 families, correct?
Yeah.
35 families. And last month alone, it was 34.
32.
Even?
32. Yeah.
Last month alone, it was 32. Now, that's stats on business, right? So I don't think, can I share what Sean shared here as far as the bank account here the other day? I can share that?
Yeah, I don't mind.
Okay. So Ethan is 19. Okay. So he just moved to Boca. And again, this is funny. Sean said that he stopped by his house and that he only had like a few things in the refrigerator and stuff like that. However, Ethan has close to $100,000 on your bank account, sitting on the bank account, right?
Yeah.
Not needing the money, not, and guys, it didn't come from McDonald's. I want you all to understand that, okay? It didn't come from McDonald's. And it didn't come because Ethan is Sean's, a friend or Trevor is his best friend or anything like that. I don't think that Sean was giving him any hangouts or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
But it came from his hard work. Now, you could say that, yeah, he's 19, he doesn't have nothing to worry about, but I really hope that you guys have been hearing his thought process, right? And like I said, if you did not know anything about Family First Life, I'm pretty sure that we're all smart enough to see that he knows what he's doing, right? That's the reason that I'm asking him these questions, is because he didn't come in knowing exactly what he was going to get into. Like what you just said, Ethan, the fact that you're coming around, on Zoom live dials, and you are associating yourself with top producers. I mean, you've asked questions, you are getting around those people. And then you also said that you've been learning as you go. Like the more that you've done it is what's helped you get to the level where you are right now. You said experience is the best teacher, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, that's what's gotten you to this point, right?
Yeah. And I remember whenever I used to dial, I didn't want anyone to hear me. I would hide out in a corner, you know, someone walked in, maybe even hang up on a client just because I didn't want people to hear me. I would feel embarrassed or I wouldn't be confident. Even on Zooms, you know, I would stay muted. But now, you know, when you hear other people on Zoom get yelled at, get cussed out, book an appointment, whatever it is, it helps you as well. So, and if you don't have enough confidence to unmute and dial in front of people that are doing the same thing as you know, how are you going to have enough confidence to dial leads that you just spent money on, right? So my process is just unmute, you know, let people hear you. They'll help you. Hearing other people is a huge thing. So I think that because my biggest issue before, my biggest struggle was dial days. But when I did start hopping on Zoom with people, that's what really helped me start booking more appointments and start helping more families. It's just Zoom dials alone.
Yeah, for sure. Was it that it was a motivation, accountability? What was it for you?
Yeah, I think it was accountability and just realizing that the guys right across on my screen here that just booked 5 appointments isn't that special. You know, he's no genius or anything. He's just a regular guy that's just saying the same stuff as everyone and saying it confidently. So that's just the biggest thing because there's some goofy guys on there. And I'm like, okay, if they can book 10, 12 appointments and help 30, 40 families a month, you know, why can't I do that? You know, why can't I do that?
Right. So if the goofy guy can book 12, 15 appointments, we can all do that. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
exactly.
Good thing, man. Good stuff. You know, and I'm glad that you said that because, you know, some of the new agents that come in, they're like, man, that was great. That's awesome. You know, you're a killer, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, guys, we've just been doing this for a while. You know what I mean? We've done it several times and then you get to learn, right? Because Ethan, the objections, what are some of the top objections that you get?
I think just not interested, already taken care of, hang-ups, you know, pretty much not interested, already got it, you know, stop calling me, take me off the list, just regular typical objections. You know, one thing I always like to say or that I heard is that these clients or leads, they're not, you know, meeting up every week and coming up with new objections like, oh, let's say this to the insurance man now. It's all the same thing that's been happening for years, you know.
Mhm.
So that's what everyone's been saying. So they all say the same stuff. Once you just learn to overcome them, it's not like you're going to face new objections as you go on. You just learn them all at once, and then moving forward, you're able to handle them. Because like I said, they're not coming up with new ones as we go. It's not getting any harder. It's just staying consistent and doing the same thing.
Right. That's awesome, man. That's gold right there. I really hope that you guys are taking notes in here. And again, you know, if you're not, I mean, this is gonna be recorded. So definitely replay that right there. If you just replay those 10 seconds, that's all you need to know about phone script, right? And I don't necessarily like to go into phone script and stuff like that because that's just different for everyone. You're gonna have to say different things depending on how you say things because I can't say the same thing that Ethan is saying or you know the same thing that Jermaine says or any of that. I have to say it on my own. It has to sound coming from me. But the objections is the biggest thing. And so
Yeah.
if you learn to overcome those 5, I mean, you're good to go. There's not more than that. You know, and just like you said, I mean, that comes through repetition just by doing it. The way that you get better at this is just by doing it. So Frank DeSena, Ethan, talks about, you know, like different shots, right, in basketball. Like
Yeah.
there's not many different types of shots, you know, like in order for Michael Jordan, and because I know you play basketball, right?
Yeah.
All right. So, I mean, in order for Michael Jordan and for, you know, Kobe Bryant, you know, some of the greatest, not LeBron, he's not great, but those guys only had to learn certain, I mean, how many types of shots, Ethan?
Yeah. I mean, you got a layup, mid-range, three-pointer, free throw, you know.
Okay, that's 4, right? 4,
Yeah.
5 tops. Yeah, exactly. And then the way that, or the reason that they became so good is because they were doing it early in the morning. They were doing it late at night when nobody was watching them. And so that's what Ethan has been doing, you know? And
Yeah.
then he's hanging around, you know, the Kobe's and the Michael Jordans of the industry. I mean, just being around Eric Schmidt and, you know, Eric Anthony, Sean himself. I mean, that a bunch, and you can name some of your favorite, you know, people here in the industry, Ethan, but that's really the only thing that you've done. Now, let's talk a little bit about, we talked about schedule, so thank you for that. In order to book those 15 appointments that you said for the next 2 run days, let's talk a little bit about leads. So you did mention to me that the only thing that you ran was internet leads.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your lead strategy there.
Yeah. So usually I think with internet leads, it's more of a mentality standpoint, right? So pretty much I've been pretty, profitable doing this. I usually only spend about 1,000 a week, and then I'll consistently help anywhere from, 20, 30, 35 families a month. Right. But I want to start taking it to the next level, obviously, and diversify my lead flow. But when it comes to the internet leads, I pretty much look to get anywhere from 120 to 150 a dial day, right? And most of the time I just buy the 1 months. They're $4 each. So, and a lot of times they're on discount with work spots, right? So I'll get a 150 for $600. And my mentality is, out of 150 people, only one of those guys has to buy insurance and help their family for me to make my money back, right? So, and my mentality is, I'm not going to book 150. I'm looking to book 8, 9, 10% maybe, anywhere from 10 to 15. I think that's going to get the job done. So when people hang up and cuss me out and tell me that they're not interested, stop calling them. It's just, I just dial the next one, right? It's a $4 lead. It's not like I spent $90 on it. I'm sure not everyone here has mailers locked out. So a lot of new agents, they work the internet leads. I'm just looking for the low hanging fruit, right? Out of 150, I'm just looking for 10 to 12 or 15 that are telling me, yeah, that's what I was looking for. Yeah, tomorrow at 5 o'clock works. That's all I'm looking for. All the people that cuss me out or tell me they're not interested, oh well, call them another day, mess with them a little bit, and just dial the next lead. Because like I said, when it's only $4, you're not really spending too much time stressing over it and worrying about it.
Right.
$4 lead, just go ahead and dial the next one.
Got it.
That's huge when it comes to internet leads, because people can make 10 dials, no one answers the phone, or everyone hangs up on them and they get discouraged and they stop dialing the phone. But when you're consistently just keep going and going and going and just have in your mind, you're just looking for low hanging fruit. Worst case scenario, you sell 1 or 2 policies and you profit a little bit or break even, right? If the worst case scenario is you break even, as long as you work hard, I would make that investment. I would make a $10,000 investment if I had to, if the worst case scenario is break even. So out of $600, not a discount. Like I said, it only takes one of those guys to make some profit or your money back. And then after that, you have all day, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday to figure it out and just try to help a couple families to profit there.
100%. So, throughout the week, not 50, not 60, right? Throughout the week, you're talking about 240 to 300 leads per week.
Exactly.
Right? Not 100 per week, not 50 per dial, but 100 and 150.
And that will cost you anywhere from $800 to $1,200 for the week, not including discounts. Sometimes there'll be a 30% off. If you guys aren't on work spots and you're running internet leads, I would really recommend getting on work spots, because they throw a 30-40% off coupon in there. You get 150 leads, it costs you, $300. It's a no brainer right there. You sell one policy, you're doubling your money, if not, and then some, so that's 100%. Just my mentality. I know I can't lose as long as I just put in the work required and just get in front of as many people as possible. I know there's no way I can lose or fail.
Yeah. So some people will say, that they would like to get the fresher, the fresher, the better, right? Mm-hmm. What's your thought process aside from obviously the price, which I'm pretty sure that you're going to mention it again, but what's the thought process? Why the 1 month old?
I like them because they're cheaper, right? I think internet leads, they're filling out forms online and instant. New internet leads, obviously they might be a little bit newer, but just because they filled one out 1 month ago, how do you know they're not constantly filling these things out every day? These people are on their phone all the time. Something pops up on their phone, they're filling it out. So I don't call them and say, hey, I'm calling you about this form you filled out a long time ago. I just call them like they filled it out today, and just look for the people that are going to respond in that way. So, and like I said, I don't mind spending $4 on a lead, because there's not too much area to stress about. If you get a $60 lead and they hang up on you, tell you you're not interested, you might start sweating a little bit and like, okay, I gotta, go make that back. But when it's $4, you just go, okay, whatever, dude, I'm on to the next one.
Right.
So
Right.
that's
Exactly. So that's awesome, man. That's powerful right there. Because you're not necessarily having to invest a whole lot, in order to make your money back. Just like I said, I mean, in an investment of six, and even if it's $1,000, one of them buys everything else, you're even, you're breaking even, and then everything else is profit.
Mhm.
Now, do you usually go back and dial? You did say this before, but let's break it down real quick. So do you usually go back and dial again the leads that you weren't able to get in contact with?
I do sometimes, but like I said, usually a 150 is a lot. So if I buy 150 Monday and 150 Thursday, like I said, because I want to have fresh leads every week, I don't really have all the time in the world to dial from the last batch. But if I need to, if I'm not getting a lot of pickups, I will. And then even like I said, I've had days where I don't have a good dial day and I just start calling other leads on another day, and it just works out because I feel like internet leads, they don't answer, a lot of them answer the phone, right? But the ones that do, just because they didn't answer then doesn't mean they won't answer a week from now. So I do go back and dial old leads sometimes, but mainly I try to just worry about the fresh leads or so. New leads to me that I haven't called already. But by all means, you can throw in some other ones and dial those as well, maybe on your run days or whatever. But yeah, for the
Got it.
most part.
Okay, gotcha. All right, awesome, man. So, obviously, in on a dial day, I mean, you probably because you have the leftovers from the previous dial day, you obviously have even close to 200 leads or something like that to dial. So that's a really good thing. It obviously gives you the ability to not run of numbers to dial, because let's say that for whatever reason you went crazy and didn't buy fresh leads, you still have the other ones that didn't get in contact with.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, and you are not afraid. And again, you are not afraid of dialing those leads.
No.
Right.
So
So, which,
yeah. Like I triple dial every lead, and I know a lot of people, they might get uncomfortable, get scared to triple dial. I used to be at first, right? But I
yeah,
noticed I'll call
I
them
think
four
we all
times in a
do.
row and they'll just answer like, hello, like it's no big deal. And even, before they even say anything, when I call them 3 times, 4 times, and I know I did, I usually just say, hey, Mary, sorry to call back to back. I was trying to leave a voicemail. This is Ethan here in Broward or whatever. And they're okay.
Yeah.
Like I said, a lot of times you call them 4 times, they're not going to freak out anyway. They just say hello. But I just throw that in there when I know it's like a triple dial. Hey, sorry to call back to back. I was trying to leave a voicemail. And they're just like, okay. And then I just get on to
See,
it.
and if you say that, like, who's gonna be mad at you? Maybe some, maybe a few, right? But I mean, no one is gonna get mad at you.
Yeah. Or I just play it off. Yeah, sorry. My phone's been acting up all day. And they'll be like, yeah, me too. I'm like, yeah, I hear you. Anyways, just whatever. A lot of times they don't care though.
Yeah, exactly. Go right into the phone script. That's awesome and good thing. So I know that some of the people are gonna ask, so how is he dialing the 150 leads, right?
Mhm.
Are you using any type of dialers, or are you old school,
Yeah.
finger dialing?
I just dial them from hand. I know people tell me I should use phone burner, stuff like that, but I don't mind dialing from hand because I just do it. It can be hard, obviously, if every 3 dials you're scrolling through Facebook or Instagram or YouTube and just wasting a lot of time. But I kind of just try to hold myself to just keep down the phone, just by hand. Maybe burner and phone burner would help me out a little bit. I use Ringy sometimes, but more to like send out a bunch of text messages. I mean, that's obviously some other stuff, but I pretty much just hand dial, and 3 times each from 8 to 8 o'clock at night. I usually dial from 8 to 12, take like an hour lunch break, do whatever I have to do, and then get back on it from 1 to 8 p.m. usually, and just hand dial. There's no way, I usually make about, I'd say around 600 dials on the dial day, something like that. And I know there's people that make like 800 to 1,000, but usually around 600 is what I'm around roughly.
About 600 with your own hand.
Yeah, because I'm just constantly down. They don't pick up. I'm just dialing the next one. Sometimes I might get into like a little minute stretch where I find myself scrolling on, whatever, social media, just distracting yourself. And then I just try to get right back into it. Like, hey, I gotta cut that out.
Gotcha. Awesome, bro. Good thing. Thanks for sharing that. And then you already touched bases a little bit on the objections and that we usually get. So not to go too much into phone script and stuff like that, but how do you overcome those objections? What's like your to-go line when you get those objections?
Yeah. Not interested in hang up. Sometimes you just can't beat that. Like I said, the biggest objection or handling objections is dialing the next lead. But, when they tell me they're not interested or I already take care of it, sometimes like, okay, perfect. So I can get you off the list, or if they say I already take care of it, okay, perfect. So I can get you off the list. Did someone come out and see you or did you do it over the phone? And a lot of times if they say they did it over the phone, I'll be like, okay. And did someone come out and review that policy? And I'll sound like that, like all concerned. And they're like, no. I'm like, okay, perfect. Well, I'm doing this with 15 other families over the next couple of days. It only takes about 5 minutes to make sure you were put in the proper risk class, with something in the morning or afternoon work, right? And then sometimes that'll work. Just come over as a policy review. And then a lot of times if they tell me they're not interested, I'll just say, okay, most of the time when they say they're not interested, they usually just hang up anyway. But I'll try to squeeze something out like, okay, well, you're not interested because you already got something or was it too expensive? But like I said, when you have 150 and some of them tell you they're not interested, you just dial the next one. But
you just dial the next
those are
one.
the main objections. They already took care of it. They're not interested. Call back later, stuff like that. I don't really get anything else too crazy. Those are usually the most common.
Yeah, which is really not. And I think that with one response, and that's what I was asking you, right? Was your to-go liner, because with that answer, with that response, you pretty much answer all the objections, right? You can overcome all of those objections.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Good thing. And then so what's your typical opening, I guess, for your phone script on those? Because just like you said, I mean, you treat them as brand new. So what's your phone script? What's the opening up to your phone script on that?
Yeah. So a lot of times I'll just be like, hey, Gio.
Hey,
Gio, this is Ethan, or I'm not a telemarketer. Okay. This is Ethan here in Broward. I'm just getting back to you about that information for the Florida discounted life insurance programs. It looks like you were seeing if you could qualify and you put your birthday, October 10th, 1960. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's the 20th, but yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah. And I said, perfect. Okay. And I also had an address here. I'm not sure if it's old or current because sometimes they can't get mixed up. So I like to say that. I'm not sure if it's old or current, but were you still at the 123 Main Street? And I say, yup. And I'm like, perfect. Yep. Okay. I know you're getting a lot of spam calls from telemarketers, but I'm just the local guy here. They assigned to get this information to you. I'll get you off the phone real quick. And then I just go into the rest of it. But usually my liner is, I'll just say, hey, hey, Mary, I'm not a telemarketer. Okay. This is Ethan here in whatever county, or sometimes I'll just say, this is Ethan here in Broward, getting back to you about that form you responded to for the Florida discounted life insurance programs. I usually keep it simple. I don't try to hide the fact that I'm calling about life insurance because I don't want to book 12 appointments and they have no idea why I'm coming. So I say life insurance and, so when I book them, they know why I'm showing up. And if they hang up right then and there, go ahead.
Awesome. Pretty straightforward, right to the point. And again, the ones that are going to say no, they're going to hang up either way. The ones that were filling out the form because they want a life insurance, they're going to go ahead and book the appointment with you. And those are the ones that you're looking for.
Yeah.
Awesome. Good stuff. So that's why, again, phone script, you guys got to make it your own and all that kind of stuff. But I think that we highly, highly recommend that you guys do start with the internet live leads. And so one of the reasons that I wanted to make sure that you guys can get to hear and get to know Ethan is to for him to be able to remove all excuses, right? Because I truly, truly do consider you an excuse remover, Ethan. And obviously the fact that you have been running internet live leads from when you started. Ethan is just now in the process of diversifying his leads. And so, he's working on a few things on that end too. So I'm really excited, man, for our team to have the opportunity to hear you out. You're obviously growing a team as well. I know that you have a few of agents that are coming along your team and stuff like that. What would be an advice that you would give a new agent here getting started with us?
I think it would just be, just don't be afraid to go all in from the start, right? You can't just nickel and dime it and expect it to work out, right? I would just recommend don't be cheap, don't cheap yourself out, because the less leads you have, it's going to be a lot harder than if you had more, right? So if I only bought 50 leads and I spent, $200 or $300, whatever it is, it's going to be a lot harder to sell some policies out of those 50 to where if I just spent more and got 150. So I think just don't be afraid to go all in, because as long as you work and you actually put in the work required, there's no way out of 150 people you can't help at least one family and make your money back. So I think just go up, don't be afraid to go all in, don't try to be cheap and sell yourself short, and just, actually put in the work. Because if you buy 100 leads and you dial for, 2 hours and you only make 100 calls, it's not going to work for you. You got to actually, put in the work required. And like I said, just go all in.
100%, man. Thank you. So one last thing too, Ethan, I think that for us, what we do, the hardest part of what we do is the phones, I think. In the home and stuff like that, and then product knowledge. You even said it. I mean, the more that you do it, the better that you get at it, I think. But if you don't book appointments, what goes on in the home, the type of product that we sell or that we offer, the companies that we represent, I mean, doesn't mean anything. So I think that we can close this off, with what you just said. Making sure that you understand the investment, making sure that you understand that you have to invest in yourself, just like Ethan said. Don't cut yourself short. I mean, don't be cheap on yourself, right? And then number two, make sure that you get good at contacting those leads, making sure that you get good at dialing those leads. So not be afraid of work, because that's pretty much everything that Ethan has been doing, right? I mean, he's been putting in the work. You're not talking to someone that just because he's 19 years old, he came down to South Florida to party. That's not Ethan, right? So I mean, he's putting in the work, he's dialing. I mean, he just told you, 600 dials per dial day, and 150 leads that he needs to have to be able to book those 15 appointments. So Ethan, if anyone wants to get in contact with you, social media and that kind of stuff, is that the best route to get to you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty active on Instagram. It's just exactly how my name is spelled, Ethan, Mckinney. There's 2 Y's at the end. So, reach out, shoot me a DM, whatever. But another thing I'd like to add when it comes to dialing internet leads is something I like to have, like as a good mental, is it just takes one call, right? It just takes one dial for someone to tell you to come over, and you help that family out and you make all your money back or your profit. So it only takes one call. Once you help a couple families and you realize that for that appointment you made X amount of money, is why wouldn't you want to book 10 appointments, or why wouldn't you make 500 calls if all it took was just one, to do that? Why wouldn't you want to keep booking more appointments and just keep dialing and looking for that person? But like I said, so that's my Instagram right there.
Awesome.
I'm pretty active on there. Reach out. I can put it in here, but pretty much.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. I honestly do not want to mess that up, so I don't want to add anything more to that. It's also 2 p.m. Got to get back to work, you guys. So I am so thankful, man. Appreciate you a whole lot. And I'm excited that you're down here, man. I get to be around you for a little while you're down here. So like I said, if there's anything that I can do, definitely let me know. And the Impact Agency is here too to support you, man, with anything that you need. Appreciate you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you having me on.